Welcome to episode 291 of Juan's World. I'm not going to go back to my old habit of saying welcome to the Tuesday version or welcome to the Friday version, because I don't know what day I'm going to be doing these on or how often I'm going to be doing them. I did my last couple of episodes concerning my cooking and other exploits around the Gregorian New Year and the Chinese New Year. Now I'm just wandering off into my usual ramblings about this and that. And my topic today is the meaning of life. And it's something of a cryptic title, because the meaning of life is a strange concept. What does it mean when somebody says, what is the meaning of life? Does it mean what is living? Does it mean what is our purpose? Can we define life? I mean, there's just an awful lot of things, and I'm going to try to get into a number of different ones. So let's get started. Now, immediately I think about Douglas Adams and the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy when I think about the question, the meaning of life. If you know the Hitchhiker's Guide, you'll understand me. If you don't, I won't add any spoilers, except to say that the whole series hinges on the question of the meaning of life. And it seems as if Earth was created by the Magrathians as a, I guess, a sort of biophysical computer that was designed to answer that question, what is the meaning of life? and I mean, I won't go into all the details, but the answer it comes up with is 42. And what Adams is doing, among other things, is saying that it's not a very good question. And even if it isn't a good question, what are you going to do when you get the answer? That like with many deep, complicated questions, the answer usually just provokes more questions. I mean, so he's giving a particularly stupid answer. And part of the reason he's giving a stupid answer is because he's saying that the question is stupid. Well, I don't think the question is stupid. I think it's framed badly. When some people say, what is the meaning of life? What are they really asking? And that's one of the things that I do as an academic all the time, is I ask questions of questions. You ask me a question, and I reply with a question because I want to know exactly what it is you're asking me. Are you asking me, what is the meaning of life in some kind of cosmic sense? Why is there life here at all? And where did it come from? Or are you asking me something a little personal, like, what is the meaning of your life? Well, they're very different questions. Let's start with, what is life? And as long as you don't think about it too much, you can kind of get a grasp on it. Like you can know pretty much what a living thing is. Like when you look at another human, or a spider, or a snake, or a flower, you can say that they are living. But what does it mean for them to be living? Well, I they've been asking this question for thousands of years. And the ancients wanted to know, for example, what's the difference between this dog here that is, barking and panting and eating and all of that stuff, and this one that's lying down and not breathing. Right? What is the difference between the two of them? Apart from the fact that one's living and one is not living, but what is it that the living one has that the not living one doesn't have? And the thing is that it points out that living things are not machines. Like if I have a car, or let's say I have two cars, okay, both similar cars. One of them, the engine's running. I can get in and step on the accelerator and turn the steering wheel and go places. And I have another one and the engine's not working. Or when I say not working, it's not turned on. So when I get into it, I can't do anything. Are these equivalent to the living dog and the dead dog? No. No, because if I turn the key and there's enough fuel in the tank and everything, it'll start up and it'll go. The thing is that I can't do that with the dead dog. It's not like I can, let's say, drain all of its blood and then it dies, and I can then put all the blood back and it will come back to life in the same way that if I put more fuel in the car, it will well, I have to turn the engine on, of course, but I don't have anything like turning the engine on with the dog. When you see these medical dramas and somebody's heart has stopped, they get out the paddles and they rub them together and boom, and the body jumps from the electric shock, and they do this a few times and they come back to life. Well, that actually doesn't happen. That's not what defibrillator paddles are for. Defibrillator paddles actually stop the heart because the heart is quivering. It's not beating, it's not pumping, it's just quivering. And what the paddles do is they stop it quivering with the hope that the autonomic system will take over, that it'll start firing properly and start beating again. If it's not beating, jolting it with electricity won't make it start. That's a false analogy which medical dramas use all the time, and it's just plain wrong. So we don't have any way to jumpstart a dead body to bring it back to life. So we have no way of doing that. If you're a Christian, you will think that Jesus could do that. He could somehow jumpstart the dead and bring them back to life. And that's the whole basis of Christian resurrection. But we haven't ever seen that in the modern world in medical controlled conditions. So what is the thing or the essence that brings things to life? How does a new life get created in a human, when an egg and a sperm come together? Well, the egg and the sperm are living, so when they come together they make a living thing, and it's a new living thing. But we can't make those things out of, or at least we're close, but not close enough to actually create living things from just chemicals in a beaker. We can get close. We can fabricate chains of amino acids and so forth. We can do a lot of those kinds of things. We can't actually make something come alive. And in the classical world, people thought that the thing that made the difference between dead and life was the soul or the spirit. There's a non-material, non-physical thing that somehow inhabits living things that gives them life. Well, that's a whole long philosophical journey that I'm not going to take us on right now, but it is an important one, that life is to an extent a mystery, and also where it came from originally is also a mystery. And to be simplistic for the moment, I'm going to divide the world into people who think that life developed spontaneously because of the conditions on the earth at a certain time, the chemical conditions, the electromagnetic conditions, all of that, that there was somehow some kind of what they sometimes used to call a primordial soup of organic materials that, with the combination of water and electrical discharge from lightning and so forth, that eventually long chains of amino acids developed into something that came to be living, versus some supernatural being who spoke certain words and did certain things and brought things to life. In Genesis, it's kind of curious because there's this concept of nephesh, which we could sort of translate as spirit or breath, in the sense that there are different kinds of things that we in the modern world call living. One would be plants, which Genesis does not consider to have nephesh, that is, it doesn't breathe, so it doesn't have spirit. That breath and spirit are really the same kind of thing. Whereas animals and humans do have nephesh. And of course Adam has nephesh because God breathed it into his nostrils. That God gave the clay, took the physical stuff and added this supernatural or non-physical, metaphysical dimension of life. And that when you die, you give that up. We sometimes call it giving up the spirit. That is, that the breath of life departs the physical body and you're no longer alive. All right, well that's an important part of the question of the meaning of life, and in a sense of like, what is life? And my semi-simplistic answer is that we don't really have a total grasp on what life is. Like, it's not like turning a machine on, because you can turn machines on and off and on and off. You can leave a machine sitting in a field for a year or a decade or a century and come back, and with the appropriate oiling and cleaning and so forth, you can turn it back on. You can't do that with a living thing. So there's something that's not entirely mechanical about living things. And different cultures and different religious groups in particular have a different feeling about the sacredness of life. Like Buddhists, for example, will not kill anything, or at least will not kill anything that in the Hebrew tradition has nephesh. So they're vegetarians. They don't they don't kill animals for meat. They do kill carrots, though, and this is something that I've debated with my students multiple times, because they'll all say, "Oh, you're not really killing a carrot when you pull it up." Well, yes, you are. You're not killing an apple when you pluck it from a tree, because the apple is not the living thing. The tree is the living thing that produces the apples. So there are a few sects of Jains, I think they are, who will not eat anything unless it's like fallen from a tree and has sort of, in a sense, given itself up. They believe that much in the sacredness of life. All right, that's part one. That's the, like, what is life itself? But I think that often when people ask the question, what is the meaning of life, they're asking something a little bit deeper. They're asking, why am I here? And perhaps also they're asking not just, like, why are humans here, but why am I here in particular? What is the meaning of my life? And here I again want to divide the world into the two kinds of people. One who answer that question by saying, something else, something outside of me is determining what my meaning is. That something outside could be God, or it could be society, or it could be family, or it could be some other kind of social connection. But it's essentially saying that I derive my meaning from other places. That I am here because I am a father and I have to take care of my children, or I am a husband, or I am a brother, or I am a son, or whatever, that I'm related to other people, and my purpose in life is to fit into that system somehow or other. The other group of people, a group of people that say that I derive my value and my meaning internally, that I come up with it myself. And I have to say that if you're going to be truly properly philosophical about this, I would say that even if you say, I derive my meaning from God, it's still you saying that. So there's still a subjective element in there saying, my meaning comes from God because I have decided that my meaning comes from God, or I have decided that my meaning comes from my social group. So, it's really all the same in a certain kind of way, but what I'm saying is that there are some people, and it includes me, who say that I derive my sense of my meaning from myself. I determine it. And this goes back to some videos that I made a long time ago about vocation, about the sense that we each are unique individuals with unique capabilities, and if we develop those capabilities, we derive satisfaction. And I've talked about how I have a sense of vocation as a teacher, and that when I am actually teaching, that is when I feel truly like alive and fulfilled and like serving my purpose. What is my purpose? My purpose is to teach others. And therefore I keep doing it. I'm nearly 72 years old and I can't stop because it's my meaning for my life. It's not your meaning for your life. That your job is to determine what your meaning is. In other words, what is the meaning of life? If you think about it in individual terms, I don't have an answer for you, because I don't know who you are. I don't know what your strengths are, or what your weaknesses are, what your history is, and so forth. That it's up to you to decide. But what I will say is that if you don't wrestle with that question, then you may end up feeling unfulfilled. Or you may also feel unfulfilled if you don't have a good answer. And the sociologist Emil Durkheim said that one of the problems in life is that if we can't find purpose, if we can't find meaning, we end up being adrift. He used the term anomie. See if I can put it down below here. Like no meaning. If you have no meaning, if you have no sense of purpose, if you get up in the morning and say, what am I doing this for? Why am I going to work? Why am I just treading the treadmill every day, going to work, coming home, eating my dinner, going to bed, getting up, going to work, paying the bills? Like if it's just meaningless work, then why am I living? And that was one of his analyses of suicide, that people who lose a sense of meaning can commit suicide. Well, even if we don't commit suicide, if we don't have that sense of purpose, then yeah, our life can be meaningless. And I've certainly felt that in my own life at times when I've been like getting up, going to work, coming home, going to bed, getting up, going, that treadmill can feel bad unless you have injected it with your own individual sense of purpose. Now, where does that come from? That's the next mystery. I don't know. What's your passion? Go back and look at my videos on vocation. What are the things that excite you? What are the things that, when you do them, you feel truly like you are living? It's not just teaching for me, it's also writing, but it's a component of teaching. If you take a vocation as being a multifaceted jewel, then it can have many angles. Like I'm teaching right now, making videos. So I used to blog. I teach in the lecture hall. I write books. There's a lot of different ways of expressing my vocation, which it seems just like I talk a lot. It's a way of connecting with other people. That's what gives me a sense of purpose, is connecting with other people. So there we are. That's my dribble for the week on the meaning of life. I hope it's helpful. I may add something to it at a later date. But for now, please tell your friends about my videos. Please like, please subscribe, and have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time.